You meet with the defendant earlier?
Yes, I did, and I'm pleased with our relationship. I think we've made a strong bond, and I'm looking forward to moving forward, helping him out.
How were you approached?
I really don't want to get into that.
Is he saying he's innocent at this point?
He has indicated pleas of not guilty. The only charges that we've seen thus far have been the ones here in Pennsylvania, and we have pled not guilty to those charges. And we'll
what's his state of mind?
I really can't get into that. That's too speculative. I'm not going to get into that.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear from here. You said he has said he's innocent so far?
Oh, yeah, we pled not guilty, at least to the charges in Pennsylvania. Like I said, I'm not aware of any actual charges in New York. If you were in the hearing earlier, there was a proceeding where they introduced some documents, which, as I complained about, didn't have enough information for me. So we're looking forward to getting that additional information.
When did that plea happen? It's not something that
Okay, just how you pointed out, you guys, there was no information from New York. New York has not sent any documentation about any charges. He's not been charged in the state of New York. Okay, so you have these news agencies keep pushing out this information that he has charges for homicide and murder and blah, 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 blah in the state of New York. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Let's be clear on that. Okay, do not let the media gaslight you and gas you up. You guys, they're good at lying. Okay, they're good at bending the truth. So this is the problem. All right, this is the problem, and it gets better.
at least I was aware of.
Okay, well, hopefully, again, I was not at the arraignment yesterday. I hope he pled not guilty. I assume that's what happened. But today, when I entered my appearance, and for the record, he's pleading not guilty to those offenses.
So he is. I was at the hearing. He did not say that he was not guilty or make that plea. So right now, though, you're telling us that he is pleading not guilty.
That is correct.
So he doesn't say you are under the impression, or you're trying to defend the client on the fact that he is not the shooter?
Listen, I haven't seen any evidence that says that he's the shooter. So that's, like I said earlier, and I wasn't kidding around. A couple of things. If you're going to report something, report it accurately. And remember, and this is not just a small thing, the fundamental concept of American justice is a presumption of innocence, and until you're proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. And I've seen zero evidence at this point. And so I'm not even aware of what any charges.
I'm sorry, that's just...
Listen, you can tell by the way he moves, his mannerism, he done got some criminals off, okay? This brother look like he done got people off, okay? You could just tell, and the way he talks about the rule of law, he's just like, listen, you guys keep slandering this man. There's no evidence, there's nothing. He said he's not guilty to these charges here in the state. Ain't no charges from New York, ain't nothing came down from New York. We're talking about right here, right now. Here's the problem. Here's the reality. They got me on some gun possession and a fraud and fake ID charge. Okay, we said not guilty. Y'all are still trying to talk about some stuff in New York. What I don't like about this interview, which I didn't want to cover. I'm only just gonna do a little bit more. I want you guys to catch a few. But the reporters are so retarded. Okay, imbeciles at best. They keep repeating, constantly trying to change and reframe the same question. And it's so exhausting. All right. They constantly, is he pleading guilty? Not guilty. Not guilty to this. It's like, he's like, man, I can't. I already told you what it is. So you're going to hear him kind of get a little frustrated, but he's still cool with it. He's still cool with it.
Regarding the extradition request from...
Well, during the hearing today was the extradition. So we're going to take one step at a time. It's a long process. Can be a long process.
The photos that police released, the NYPD release of him.
I'm sorry?
The photos, the NYPD release of your client.
I don't have any control over what the NYPD does. And if they release something, I hope I can get my hands on them. And if you guys get them, send them to me. I'd appreciate it.
Clarify something. You pled for him not guilty in the state of Pennsylvania about the charges here. When did that happen?
Well, he has a hearing coming up. I believe it's the 20-something. I can't recall. A lot happened today. So until they haven't even had a prima facie case established yet, so they have to have a prima facie case established before they can the case can move on to the Court of Common Pleas. So the burden's always on the government, thank God, and that's their burden, and they're going to have to produce some evidence, and we're anxious to see it.
Understanding that you have said you have not seen charges coming out of New York yet, that if and when there are, and you have seen them, will you be pleading not guilty to those as well?
That would be my expectation. That certainly would be my advice.
No, he's going to plead guilty and hope for the best, dummy. What kind of question is that? Man, who are these? I wish they could show the reporters' faces. We need to know, okay? We need to know what group y'all work for. Some of y'all ask the stupidest questions. But extradition is a big deal, okay? But guess what? You can't extradite without what? Without a crime, without a charge. So New York is stalling. They're stalling. I think they got all what they have at the most they can get. You know, they probably want to get a search warrant on his home, okay, and kind of go through some things there and see what they can find. But the clock is ticking, and you're not going to be, from my understanding, they can't extradite him because they want him there. They have to be able to connect. They have to be able to put him at the scene. You know, they could come down and interview him, but he has an attorney. He's not talking, right? So extradite him for what? You got to have a charge. You got to have an offense to extradite. You just can't extradite people because you feel like it, because you think they did something. You got to be able to show it. Not saying that they're not putting it together. I'm just saying it just seems like it's taking quite a long time. They got the prints, got his phone, they got his bag. You know, I'm pretty sure they swabbed his mouth. They did all those things. They can do that with a search warrant. I mean, you can get his blood. I mean, you got to explain why you need it. Like, I mean, again, you just can't do what you want to do. You got to connect. These things have to connect. They got to flow. Okay? They got to flow for you to actually pull some of this stuff off. So the attorney's like, I haven't heard anything from New York. Y'all keep asking about New York. I don't know nothing about New York. New York ain't said nothing to me. You know, we talking about right here.
Your client's demeanor the past 2 days at the arraignment and again today at the hearing. At some points he was, smiling, laughing. You even had to actually tell him to stop talking. What are his feelings right now?
Well,
I mean, he seems outspoken.
Well, he's obvious. I said earlier, use your common sense. If you put yourself you or a loved one in that position, it's natural, I think, to go through many emotional states. As far as him not talking, as long as I'm going to be the lawyer, I'm going to do all the talking. My client's not going to say anything.
A quick question about process. I was also at the hearing last night. I don't remember any plea being asked for or entered.
Okay. As long as he hasn't pled guilty, that's all I care about. So.
In the Blair County case, it's just not the.
Well, I'm telling you, as his lawyer, he didn't have any lawyer record, and he didn't have any representation until I got involved this afternoon. And I'm telling you, he's pleading not guilty to each and every other.
When does that plea normally happen? At the first hearing?
Like I said, normally that could happen at the what happened last night at the informal arraignment, which is at the magisterial district judge.
So is he telling you this is all some sort of awful mistake?
I'm not going to talk about anything he's told me.
How do you end up in Altoona?
I'm not going to talk about that.
Has he been able to contact his family since?
Yeah, I'm not going to get into that either.
I love this guy. He's so smooth. Like, nah, I ain't not speaking on that. What about his family? It's none of your damn business. I mean, if you really just, let me translate for you. How'd he get to Altoona? I mean, I don't know what to tell you. I can't share it with you. Like, hey, this is client privilege. I can't really talk on it. What about his family? Did he talk to his family? Why she asked about the family? Apparently, allegedly, or I would say what happened was, I believe, from my understanding, the mother reported him missing since November, okay? Now, this is going to lead into that secondary theory I was telling you about that I got to break down, which, again, it's a theory. It could be possible, okay? So we're going to get back to that. The mother filing a missing persons report or reporting him missing in November. Mind you guys, he's 26, all right? Okay. Just keep that in mind. We're gonna come back to that, I promise.
Can you tell us when you were hired?
I can say sometime prior to the hearing this afternoon.
So you were hired.
Okay, why would he want to keep that to himself? Okay, why would he want to keep that to himself? Think about it, you guys. Think about it. Okay? Think about it. So this goes back to, again, that initial theory that, this was already planned out. He was planning to go to Allerton. He knew exactly where he was going, every intentions to go there. He already did the research on this attorney. He already knows who this attorney is. He knows the skill of this attorney. The attorney was already reserved. I'm telling you. All right, let's get back into it.
Hired and not appointed by the court.
That is correct.
If Governor Huichel provides this governor's extradition thing, does that change the timetable here? You still have the right to a habeas hearing, don't you?
Yes, sir, we do. Like I said, and I'm not trying to be, it's 24. I'm not trying to be a smart ass or anything, but when we've got to wait until we see things. When things happen, we'll react to that and proceed accordingly.
Since cameras weren't allowed in the courtroom, and which is normal and fine.
In Pennsylvania, that's the law.
Would you be able to give us a summary of what it is that happened in the courtroom today?
Yeah, today is basically what it was, and it happened fast. There was an extradition hearing scheduled. I found out about that about an hour or so before the hearing, and the initial thing is a person can waive extradition, and it was my opinion and my advice under the circumstances that he not. And I emphasize the not because apparently there's news reports already going out that he waived his extradition. He did not do that. And so that's why we wanted to make sure we're going to use the process and use the Constitution and the rights that are available to any one of us in this room and any American citizen or person charged with a crime. So we're going to move forward.
You argued that he should not be that he should be eligible for bail, excuse me.
Yes, ma'am.
Talk about some of those reasons.
Yeah, so in Pennsylvania, the Constitution says that all crimes are generally a bailable offense. Bailable offense means you have to set some form of bail. The exception to that is if it's a capital case, which means the Commonwealth or the government is looking for the death penalty. And I'm proud to say I am one of the few attorneys in Pennsylvania that's qualified to do death penalty cases. But those which this is not a capital case, knock on wood, at least that I'm aware of it right now, or if a first degree murder, which carries in Pennsylvania life without parole. If the charge which you're faced with is life without parole, then you're not eligible for bail. Since the crime, at least what was set forth by the district attorney, was alleged to be a second degree murder, that's not life without parole. So I believe that bail should have been set.
But you also talked about like a home monitoring system was a possibility. His lack of prior criminal history. I mean, you really feel that your client should be out in the public. You do not feel that he's a threat to the community.
Yeah, now you got to understand, when you set bail, the judge could set $1 million bail. It could be $5 million bail, but damn it, you get bail. That's what you do. And like I said, anytime you look at the criminal justice system, pretend you're that one in that spotlight. You're going to want to be out. And, so, yeah, I think he was entitled to bail. And the judge makes it $100 million or $10 billion or $100,000. He's entitled to bail. But to simply say no bail, in all due respect to a judge, I believe bail should have been set.
So, again, I already touched on it. The bail's not set because they're stalling for New York. They want to see what New York's going to put together. If they're going to throw an affidavit, they don't want to release him because, again, this is their primary suspect. But, or I would say this is their primary person of interest. They think that he did it. They believe that he did it. They can't. They're having a hard time getting the probable cause together in order to strike up an affidavit, a warrant, because they would have had it already. You guys, so I think they're working in cahoots with Alatoona, saying that, hey, listen, hold him there as long as you can, because that way we can just come pick him up. Because if not, he's going to get released, and then we got to go find him all over again. And so what his attorney is saying is that based on the state and what he's being charged with here, you have to give him bond. So this is going to open up a door to other problems too. So I'm curious to see how that's going to unfold. But I'm curious to know what you guys think about that.
that he implied that some of the cash that was found on him was planted or he didn't know what it was to do with. Can you speak to that at all?
I can't because I wasn't at that proceeding.
Is your client being held in solitary confinement?
I can't comment on that. I do not know.
What is the procedure in the next couple of days? What are you going to do? What is going to happen?
I'm not going to get into a lot of detail. I do have some things planned, but I can't get into that because I don't think that's what attorneys do.
So are there any other court proceedings in the next day or two?
Not that I'm aware of. I hope that since I'm the attorney of record, that they let me know about it.
Earlier today, you talked about the masks possibly being related to coronavirus. Could you elaborate on that?
Well, I mean, I don't know where you are from, but I still see people wearing masks. They say numerous masks. A lot of times when you buy masks, you got to buy them. They don't. I guess you can buy them individually, but every time I bought them, they come in boxes. So I don't know. All I can tell you is that's not a crime. It's not a crime.
Did your client indicate to you that the reason for the masks was because of their COVID?
I would not ever indicate anything that he indicated to me.
What's
I
his
can't get into
demeanor
that.
like? Is he worried?
I like how he's already building up his case already. Okay, with why is your client wearing a mask? Is he wearing a mask so he's trying to conceal himself? No, he's wearing a mask because of corona. This is what we're told to do. He wants to protect his health and the health of others. Oh boy, listen, I'm gonna end the interview here. It's really just a bunch of back and forth questions. I don't think there's anything too key. He does talk about, New York not sending down anything. He gets real passionate about it, but he's like, listen, there are no charges from New York. He's very adamant about it. There are no charges from New York. I think it's so crucial. Now, let me just play a little more. Let me just see if he says it. Let me see if it's in.
Well, I'm not going to speculate on that, but like I said, use your common sense. If you were in a jail or confined in a state where supposedly there's rumors going around you're going to be charged with murder, use your common sense.
What can you tell us about your client?
What's that?
What can you tell us about your client?
Probably not a whole lot.
What were your first impressions of him whenever you met with him or spoke with him for the first time?
I'm not like the airplane movie said, hey, give us your impression. And the guy says, I don't do impressions. So I wasn't looking for impressions. What I was trying to do was form a bond with my client. I want him to trust me, and I want him to be confident that I'm here for him. And I feel that I'm very pleased how that went.
How's his mental and his physical health?
Excuse me, ladies first. I'm sorry.
How is both his mental and his physical health? Online, he appeared to frequently discuss a spine injury he may have had, and do you think that could have contributed to some sort of breakdown?
I'm an attorney. I'm not a physician. I would only be speculating. I'm not going to do that.
What's the benefit of not waiving the extradition and going to New York and having a hearing?
There's a lot of benefits to that. It would take too long for me to get into all that. We're testing the process. I haven't seen anything. I have not seen one scintilla, one speck, one drop of any evidence yet. So it's what I decided. I think that was in our best interest to do today.
Can you clarify if he will plead not guilty to the murder charge?
Well, from what I've seen up to this point, he hasn't been charged with that, okay? He hasn't been charged with that. But if, in fact, he would be charged with that, I would anticipate, again, I don't really want to speculate, but if, in fact, that would happen, I would just anticipate a plea of not guilty.
Are you able to represent him in New York for the homicide charge?
If that would happen, that could be a possibility.
Will you accept public donations from those seeking to fund his defense?
I don't know.
How long will you be fighting the extradition?
As long as it takes to do it effectively and competently.
So, just to confirm, you are also barred in New York?
No, but you can get admitted because I've been doing this for 41 years. You can get admitted there. So, but like I said, I don't want to speculate about anything. If that opportunity would present itself and that would come out, I certainly would consider it.
Why did your client come to Altoona?
I'm not going to get into that.
Do you have any ties to here?
Not going to comment on that.
Could you comment on what type of money the foreign currency was?
The what?
What type of
No, ma'am, I could not because, again, I wasn't there. I haven't seen anything yet. I don't like to go by and all due respect to you folks, what I hear in the press. So now that I'm on board, I'm going to find out.
Did you talk to him about New York?
Again, I'm not going to get into what my client and I talk about.
Have you spoken to his family?
Not going to get into anything about that.
Are you going to follow any motions of any sort anytime soon?
I anticipate doing that.
Did you object to him going up to SCI Huntington? Should he be here in the Blair County lockup?
That's an administrative thing. That's at the bottom of my priority list right now. As long as he's safe and all that stuff, and I'll deal with that.
Watch?
Pardon me?
He's under suicide watch?
I don't know that, and even if I did, I wouldn't comment on it.
Taking a step back.
Because they do that a lot of times in some institutions, just as a matter of procedure.
Sir, can you just repeat, I'm sorry, folks are watching this all over the country and they're having questions.
Is that why all your cameras are here?
Can you just help us understand what do you expect him not to plead guilty to? Is this the murder charge or the charges in Pennsylvania?
If you charge a person, if the government charges a person with a crime, they have to prove that, okay? And they have to have some evidence, all right? So, we got it. Like I said, you can look on this table, and here's all the evidence I have right here, guys. Zoom in. I suppose you want to. Nothing. I've seen nothing. I have nothing, and we'll get that, and we'll
The
take
money
it.
What is he pleading not guilty to? What charges both?
Every charge, every charge.
Every charge, soup to nuts.
Every charge.
What about the money?
But what money?
It was $8,000 that was followed him.
I'm not commenting on that.
You guys, I'm gonna stop it there. I mean, it's pretty much over with, but I really wanted you to hear that part. Again, he's emphasizing that there are no charges. You keep asking about murder, but there are no murder charges, you guys. Again, I blame the media for putting out a lot of this propaganda, and I think they probably put themselves on a wall, okay? But maybe by the time I release this video, they might have a warrant out for his arrest, and from there they can speed up extradition. So, but we'll see. So before I end this, let me get into my last theory. I promise it won't take long, but hear me out, okay? My last theory, you guys, let's take a step back. How am I looking at this as an investigator? I'm looking at this. We have a situation where the mother reported him missing in November. Okay, here we are. We're in December. Okay, why did that happen? He comes from a prominent family. Okay, wealthy family, wealthy background. He's top of his class. Okay, we know all his accolades. He's super intelligent. We know all that. Apparently, his family has ties with politicians, okay? Who knows? Let the stretch of your imagination go wild, okay? Somewhere down the line, there is some type of extortion, some type of blackmail. In exchange, people were threatened, okay? You have someone who decides to run away because their life is in danger and they're trying to protect their family. Next, you know, they cross paths with someone that they're trying to avoid. That person says, listen, I have a list of instructions for you to do and to carry out explicitly to the T. And if you don't, you're going to put your loved ones in danger. Okay? Hear me out. He decides to follow the instructions in order to protect his loved ones back at home. He does it to a T. He puts himself where he's supposed to be. He does everything that he was asked to do. He went to XYZ, he went to ABC, and then his last order of business is to write out this memo and state that you have an issue with the healthcare industry, and you put it here, you sit at McDonald's, and then we'll do the rest, okay? You guys, is this possible that he's being framed, right? The other theory is he being framed? Is he being framed, and does this something have to do with his family? Very possible. You guys, the sky's the limit. Listen, I've worked cases where people have been tied up, people have been snatched up by the cartel, okay, where people have been held for ransom. You name it, I've seen it. So it's not so far-fetched, okay? But you have to think outside the box, and you got to keep an open mind. Anything is possible. When he made the statement and said, hey, this stuff was planted, you know, maybe not. Maybe he is the suspect. Maybe they can't prove it. Maybe this is more like law-abiding citizen, or maybe this guy is just trying to prove a point and he thinks he can outsmart the entire government. Maybe. Or maybe he's a victim and he's being framed. But what we do know is that New York has not been able to actually tie him to the crime. Therefore, there's no affidavit paperwork saying that he is, in fact, there's enough probable cause to say that he more than likely is the suspect. So, I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Anyways, you guys, like, comment, share, subscribe. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Hope you enjoyed. Please share the video. It helps the channel a lot. And with that, let these truths find you where the lies have left you. Good night. God bless.